Guys, welcome to your flow. It's Felicity, those of you that don't know me. We are going to get started in a child's pose. And to begin, you can take any version of child's pose. So knees can be together and arms can be coming back past the legs. Or you can take your knees out to the sides and have those arms out in front. So just decide where you're at and then come down to the mat and just take a moment to arrive in your first posture. Start to sink down through the sitting bones and just feel yourself melting into the mat. You might like to roll your head from side to side. And just start with settling the breath. So lengthening on the inhales, expanding, and then drawing out on the exhales. And you can already start to tap into your nasal breath, your ujjayi breathing, in through the nose and out through the nose. Just arriving at your practice. Notice what thoughts are starting to flood into the mind, and use that as an opportunity to set your intention for your practice. Something to dedicate your movements to help settle your mental state down as it starts to wander. Might be a person in your life that you'd like to dedicate your practice to. Or maybe it's a little reminder that you need for yourself. And start to repeat that intention over in your mind as you breathe. Feel the body start to release and relax. And those of us that had the knees together, I'm going to invite you now to draw them out to the edges of the mat. And if you haven't got those arms extended out in front, let's do so now. We're going to come up onto the fingertips, so we're going to start to get into the shoulders. You can bring the ears in line with the arms, and we're just getting this beautiful deep stretch through the arms, across the back, starting to make some space. And then we're going to start to walk the hands off to the right hand side. And walk them as far off as you can and stay up on those fingertips. Notice how that left sitting bone is picking up. See if you can draw that back down. Find a spot for your head to rest, staying on the fingertips. So we're getting this beautiful side stretch along the left hand side of the body, but we're still getting into the shoulders. And then starting to walk ourselves back to center, same thing off to the other side. Notice how that right sitting bone might be picking up. We're going to draw that back down, still on the fingertips, so still getting this stretch right the way through the arms and the shoulders. Ears come back down in line with the arms, and breathing here. And then walking back to center. And we're going to make our way up into our first downward dog. So doing so mindfully. So starting with bringing those knees back in, curling into the toes. And let's just draw back here for a moment. So bring those sitting bones back down towards the heels. Maybe reaching behind, finding those little pinky toes, making sure they're getting in on that stretch action as well. Just starting to wake up the feet. And then when you're ready, we'll start to rise up, keeping those legs bent as we arrive in our downward dog. And then as you meet yourself at the top, starting to pedal it out, stretching into the backs of the legs. Feeling your breath move through your body. And then coming to find stillness. So let's make sure those feet are hip distance apart. And then I want you to look in front. Check what's happening with your index fingers. See if those knuckles are starting to lift up. I want you to press down through the knuckles. That will help take a little bit of weight off the wrists. Gaze comes back either to the ankles, the knees, or the belly. And we're not worried about whether the heels are touching the mat or not, but we are making sure that we're nice and active all the way down the backs of the legs. So we're getting this deep leg stretch. And we'll be here for 5 more breaths. Two more breaths, yeah. Let's take an inhale together. On the exhale, bending through the legs, gaze comes to the hands, step to the top of the mat. Come to your halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold your body down. Let's start with a nice bend in the legs, grasping opposite elbows, and we'll just arrive in our forward fold. Head hangs off the neck, elbows hang out of the shoulders, so everything is just loose and getting a nice stretch. I'm going to release the arms down, and then I want you to place either palms of the hands or fingertips about a foot's distance out in front of you. And I want you to just have a play with bringing a little bit more weight into the hands or into the fingertips. Drop that head back down so the head is still hanging off the neck. Don't worry if there's a bend in the legs, it's absolutely fine. And with each exhale, you're trying to imagine that that belly is pressing flat against the legs. Let's take an inhale together. On your next exhale, deep bend through the legs, slowly rolling up to stand. When you arrive in your Tadasana, let's take an inhale, arms come up, prayer comes up over the head. We're going to take the right index finger and the right thumb, wrap it around the left wrist, and then let yourself fold over to the right hand side. Gaze can drop down. Getting a nice stretch on the left hand side of the body. Use your next inhale to lift back up. Same thing to the other side. Index finger and thumb wrap around the right wrist and fold yourself down to the left. Inhale to pick yourself back up. Exhale, float those arms back down. Palms shine forward. Let's close the eyes for a moment and arrive in our Tadasana. Let's re-establish that Ujjayi breath if we've lost it along the way. Coming back to your intention. And just giving yourself permission for your practice here. And come to the open the eyes. We're going to take a bend into the legs and we're going to arrive in our chair, our Utkatasana. Arms extend forward. Palms can be together or apart, doesn't matter. Let's look down, check you can see those toes out in front of the knees. Check what's happening with the pelvis. So if you're getting a little arch in the back and that bum sticking out, I want you to find that slight forward tilt in the pelvis. Flat back. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, arms can drop down. We're going to start to lower ourselves down. And slowly, with control, we're going to arrive in our boat pose, our Navasana. Nice. Now we'll start with a bend in the legs. We're still warming up. Drop those shoulders down and away from the ears. Arms extend straight up. Gaze rests on those big toes, and we breathe here. I'm going to be here for 5 more breaths. Inhale together. Exhale, drop those feet down. We're going to come into a reverse table. Now, if your wrists are happy and they're not injured, we're going to have the fingers facing forward to the sitting bones. If you are wrist injured or you're just not feeling quite warm enough, you can have those fingers out to the sides or out behind you. So choose where you're at with the hands. Take an inhale. On the exhale, we're going to start to push ourselves up. Now let's start with the gaze on the knees, pushing up and out of the shoulders. Now, if you want to work on some neck strength, we're going to start to bring the gaze up to the ceiling. You can let your head drop all the way back if that feels nice. It's up to you. Or you can keep the gaze at the knees. But I want everyone to imagine is that you're making your bum disappear. So hug that bum in, push those sitting bones out and up, and expand out of the chest. We're here for a couple more breaths. Inhale. Exhale, release everything down. Come to cross the ankles. Hands come out in front, and we'll make our way back to our downward dog. Let's pedal out our dog once again. And then we'll find stillness for 5 breaths. Inhale together. Exhale, bend through the legs. Gaze comes to the hands, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up. Let's find a small back bend, so a little bend in the legs. Small back bend here. As you exhale, fold back down, reverse the flow. We're bringing the hands behind our backs. Now, what we want to start by working on is trying to straighten into the arms, so don't worry if the palms aren't meeting yet. Drop the chest down to the legs, head hangs off the neck, and we breathe here. Let's take an inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Take an inhale in your plank. Exhale, we're going to drop knees, chest and chin. Stick the bum out, slowly lower yourself down. Slide onto the belly, there's your low cobra. Exhale, push back to your downward dog. We're not staying here. Inhale in your dog. Exhale, bend into the legs. Gaze comes to the hands, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up over the head, small back bend. Exhale, reverse the flow. Hands come back behind the back, drop the chest down. Release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up. Exhale, this time prayer at heart center. Release the hands down, stand tall in your Tadasana. Let's reset for a moment. Come back to the breath. Starting to create that warmth in the body as we start to flow. Inhale, prayer comes up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Take an inhale here. On your exhale, your choice, either knees, chest, chin, or your chaturanga. Find your upward dog or your low cobra. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, roll back to your downward dog. We're going to step the right foot forward. We're coming into our warrior one. So that back foot needs to be flat, but at about a 40-degree angle. And let's widen our stance. So we're not on a tightrope. We're going to rise up. Now I want those arms as an extension of the chest. So if you're bringing the arms up higher, then I want that chest to rise with it. And what I want everyone to focus on, that knee is stacked over that ankle. That back leg is nice and straight and switched on. Palms can be together or apart. Gaze comes either to those palms or through to the space in between. Take an inhale. Exhale, float those hands down, frame that front foot. On your exhale, step that left foot to meet the right at the top and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up. Exhale, prayer at heart center. Inhale, prayer comes up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, there's your halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Take an inhale. Exhale, your choice, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Find your upward dog or your low cobra. Exhale, push, roll back, find your downward dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, warrior one on the other side. Widen that stance. Hips are shining forward. So we widen that stance to make sure that the hips aren't opening out to the side. Arms are an extension of the heart. We mirror the arms that we took on the other side and we breathe here. If you think that back leg is straight, straighten it even more. Everything is nice and active. That back pinky toe is glued down to the mat. Take an inhale. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Exhale, step that back foot forward, forward fold. Let's heel toe those feet out. Heels are on the mat, toes spill off. So we're in a nice wide stance at the top of our mat. We're going to take that right hand about 2 foot distance in front of us, either flat on the palm or up on the fingers. That left hand is wrapping around the outside of the right leg, and we pull ourselves through into a twist. Your gaze is through that right armpit. If the neck's a little bit niggly, you can drop that gaze down. And then we'll move over to the other side. So left hand will come out in front, right hand wraps around the outside of the left leg. Let's come back to center. Heel toe those feet together. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up over the head, gaze comes up. Exhale, prayer at heart center. Inhale, prayer comes up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Take a breath. Find your chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Upward dog or low cobra. Exhale, roll back to your downward dog. Let's take 5 breaths in our dog, so let's reset. Switch those leg muscles on. Bring those ears in line with the arms, wrap those armpits in. Nice. Let's glue that left foot down. We're going to extend that right leg up and out behind us. Find a downward dog splits. Pop that hip open, stretch into the hip space. And then we'll step that right foot through in between the hands. We're swiveling on the back foot, cartwheeling those arms open, and we're in our warrior two. Let's take a moment just to check in where our feet are, looking for those straight lines in our body. From middle finger to middle finger, gaze rests out in front. Front leg is bent, knee is stacked over that ankle, and we breathe here. Feel that expansion through the chest. Take an inhale. We're going to straighten through that front leg, but we're not going to lock that knee out. So we're straightening, but we're just keeping that slight micro bend. We're going to hinge our bodies forward. And then on the exhale, we're going to drop that right hand down, left arm extends up and over, and we're coming into our Trikonasana. Now you can have that right elbow resting on that front leg, or that hand is floating. That gaze is up to the left hand if your neck is happy. If the neck's a bit niggly, just drop the gaze down. And we breathe here. Take your next inhale. On your next exhale, strong legs, rise back up, rebend that front leg, warrior two. We're going to come to place that right hand on the outside of the right foot. Left arm extends up and over. Gaze is up through that left armpit or down to the front foot and front hand. Check what's happening with that back foot. Ground that pinky toe back down. Try and find that equal distribution of weight between both feet. So we're going to have a tendency to lump all our weight forward, but let's see if we can take some of that weight back into that back leg. Here for one more breath. Inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down to frame the front foot, swivel onto the toes of the back leg. Drop that back knee down. Keep those toes curled under at the back. Rise up. Find your low lunge. We're going to come into a twist. We're going to bring that left elbow outside the right knee. I'm going to try to bring that gaze onto that right elbow or to the wall behind the elbow, just to try and keep the balance still and steady. Now you've got the option to stay here, or if you want to see where you're at, maybe that left leg is going to extend and lift up. With each breath, we're trying to bring the prayer more and more to heart center. Now, same thing here. What's going on with the weight in the feet? Can we bring some of that weight back into that back leg? There might be a little wobble, that's fine. See where you're at. Take an inhale. On the exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot, and we're going to prepare for pyramid. So we're going to hop that left foot in slightly, and again, not on a tight road. So let's bring that right foot out a little, that left foot out a little. Both feet are shining forward, hips are shining forward. We're going to take an inhale, bend the front leg, find a halfway lift. On the exhale, fold down, the intention to straighten that front leg. If it doesn't straighten, that's fine. We're going to bring that torso closer to the leg. See where you're at. Any discomfort, bring more of a bend and focus on bringing that belly, that torso down. Gaze is resting on that front big toe. Let's take one more inhale. Exhale, bend into that front leg. You might want to just walk that front foot to the midpoint of the mat. We're going to come into a standing split, so nice bend in the front leg. Lift that left leg up. And what are we working on? We're trying to imagine we're bringing that belly flush to that front leg. We're not opening those hips up to the side, so hips are closed. We're not worried about how high this left leg is going. Take one more inhale. On the exhale, bend both legs. Left knee comes outside the right foot, and we're going to come to sit. So we're coming into a twist. Now, you've got the option to straighten that left leg out in front. You can keep it bent. If it's bent, we just want to make sure that both sitting bones are nice and flush with the mat. We want to make sure that right foot is nice and grounded. Intention with the right knee is to shine up. Take an inhale. Exhale, left elbow comes outside that right knee. Right hand behind us. Gaze comes past the right shoulder. Breathe here. With each exhale, see if there's more of a twist to be found. Take an inhale. On the exhale, counter twist all the way over to the left-hand side. And then back to center. We're going to come into fire log, but we're going to adjust it slightly. So we've got the left leg underneath. Now I want you to bring that left leg in line with the top of the mat. So we're not sitting cross-legged. We've got that left leg almost at a 90-degree angle. And then that right leg is coming on top. Right heel is coming under the left knee. So what we're trying to create is a triangle shining towards our pelvis. So we've got some space here, and I want everyone to activate the feet. So switch those feet on, pull those toes back. We activate the feet to protect the knees. Take an inhale at center. On your exhale, start to fold yourself down. Now maybe you're not coming down very far. That's absolutely fine. We should be feeling it in the hips. And again, I want us to think, what is happening with the belly? We want to imagine that we're draping that belly flush over the legs or over that space between the legs. And what we're looking for with each exhale, I want to see if we can make a little bit more space, find a little bit more of a bend, just seeing where we're at. Slowly start to bring yourself out of the pose. I'm going to cross the ankles. Might need to just shimmy ourselves back a little bit. Hands are going to come out in front, and we're going to step back to our downward dog. Take an inhale in your dog. Exhale, bend through the legs. Gaze comes to the hands. Step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. We're going to grab our index finger and our middle finger, and we're going to wrap them around the big toes. On the next exhale, we're going to start to fold, draw the chest down, elbows are coming out to the sides. Head hangs off the neck, gaze is straight through the legs to the wall behind us, and we breathe here. And come to release. Inhale, there's a halfway lift, you're flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, prayer comes up over the head. Exhale, prayer at heart center. Inhale, prayer comes up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Take an inhale here. Exhale, your choice, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Come into your low cobra or your upward dog. On the exhale, we'll meet in downward dog. We're going to float that left leg up and out behind us. So coming into downward dog splits on this side. Pop that hip open, make some space. And then step that left foot through. We're going to swivel on the back foot. We're finding our warrior two on the other side. So take a moment, set yourself up. When you're ready, coming to find stillness. Checking for those lines in our body. Front leg is bent, knee is stacked over that ankle. Back leg is straight and strong. And we breathe here. Slow and steady in the breath. Slow and steady in the thoughts. Come back to your intention. We're going to take an inhale, straighten through the front leg, not locking that knee out. On the exhale, we hinge the body forward and then drop the left arm down, right arm comes up, and we find our Trikonasana on the other side, our triangle pose. We breathe here. On our next inhale, strong legs, we rise up, come back into our warrior two. On the exhale, we're going to bring that left hand down outside the front foot. Right arm extends up and over. And we breathe here. Gaze is under that right armpit if the neck is happy. Otherwise, we drop that gaze down. Now I can feel that my back foot's starting to pick up, so I'm going to ground that back foot back down. I'm going to try and find an equal distribution of weight in the feet. I'm trying to draw some of that weight back. And I breathe here. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, drop both hands down to frame that front foot. Drop the right knee down. Let's keep those toes curled under. Find our low lunge for a second. And we're going to come into that crescent twist on the other side. So when we're ready, that right elbow is coming outside the left knee. And we're going to mirror what we strived for on the other side. So if we pick that back leg up on the opposite side, we're going to have a go with the same thing here. We're trying what we're aiming for. The intention doesn't matter if we get there or not, is to bring that prayer to the heart center. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, we're going to bring both hands down to frame the front foot. Hop that back leg in slightly, and we're going to set up for pyramid on the other side. So both feet are nice and grounded. That back foot is out at about a 40-degree angle. Hips are shining forward. On the inhale, on the halfway lift, that front leg is bent. On the exhale, we're starting to fold over that front leg, maybe starting to straighten it as well, seeing where we're at on this side. Gaze is steady on that front big toe. If your wrists are taking strain, we can come onto the knuckles. And again, if it feels like that front leg is doing all the work, how can you adjust the pose so that you're getting the same stretch at the back? Maybe you need to widen the stance, maybe you need to shorten the stance. We'll take an inhale. Exhale, we'll bend that front leg and we're going to set up for our standing splits. Bringing that foot to the midpoint of the mat. Right leg extends up and out behind us and we start to draw that torso down. We're not worried about the height in this back leg, and we're not opening that hip, so hips stay closed. With each exhale, we try and draw that belly over the left leg. Let's take an inhale. On the exhale, we're going to bend both legs. This time the right knee is coming outside the left foot, and we come to sit, preparing for our half Lord of the Fishes on the other side. Now, same thing here. If you took the straight leg underneath on the other side, we're going to do the same thing here. If you had it bent, we're going to aim for the same. So always trying to find that symmetry, making sure that the sitting bones are nice and flat and flush to the mat. Right arm is going to extend up, and then right elbow comes outside the left knee, left hand comes behind us. We've got this push-pull of the left shoulder drawing back and that right shoulder drawing forward. Take an inhale. Use the exhale to find your counter twist. And then coming back to center. So coming into our adjusted fire log on this side. So this time the right leg is underneath. So again, we're going to bring that out, trying to sort of make a 90-degree angle. Then that left heel is coming under the right knee. And we're going to shuffle and shimmy. We're looking for that triangle in the space between us, between the legs. We're going to switch the feet on, activate the feet, draw those toes back. Take an inhale at center. And on your exhale, starting to fold yourself forward. Slowly start to walk yourself up. We're going to extend both legs out. We're setting up for a wide leg, seated forward fold. So, same thing here. We're going to have those feet nice and active, toes are pulling back, and we're going to start with a nice bend in the legs. Take an inhale at center. On your exhale, start to fold yourself forward. And as you move down, we can start to straighten out as much as we can into the legs. And I want you to think about the belly. So we've got this idea that the belly is trying to come flush with the floor. Now, obviously it's not there, but that's where the intention is that we're going with the fold. You might meet at your elbows and stop here. And you can make this pose as difficult or as accessible as you like. See where you're at, see what's going on in the backs of the legs. We don't want any pain or discomfort, but we want to get this stretch. We're getting into the back as well. And notice what's going on with the breath and the mind. So notice where those thoughts have wandered off to. Come back to your intention. Come back to what brought you to your practice. Re-establish your Ujjayi breath if you lost it on the journey so far. And then using your next exhale to slowly draw yourself out of the pose. We're going to bring the ankles in and cross the ankles. Arms come over, and we'll make our way back to our downward dog. We won't stay here, we'll just stay for an inhale. Exhale, bend the legs, gaze comes to the hands, step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, lead with your prayer, gaze comes up. Exhale, prayer at heart center. Inhale, prayer comes up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step back to your plank. Okay, from here, we're going to come into side plank variation. So we're going to come over to the right hand side, but we're going to drop the right knee down and then swivel that right leg off the mat. Now let's try and get the right hand in line with the right knee. Left arm extends up towards the ceiling. Left leg is extended and active. Gaze comes up. We breathe here. Push out of that right shoulder. Find that expansion through the chest. Take one more inhale. And then we'll use the exhale to drop that left foot back down. Hands both come to the top of the mat. Let's come back to our plank in the middle. And then we'll move over to the other side. Left knee will drop down, swivel that left leg out to the side. And then find your side plank variation on this side. Take one more inhale. Exhale, right hand comes down to meet the left. Come back into your plank. And then as slowly as you can through your chaturanga, let's come to lower ourselves down onto the mat. We're going to come into a few rounds of locust here, so some back bends. Forehead comes down to the mat, arms come down past the body. And when we lift up, we want to keep those palms shining in towards the thighs. Forehead comes down. Take an inhale. On the exhale, pick up the chest, pick up the legs, hover the hands. Breathe here. Gaze is down, maybe slightly forward, but on the ground. So we've got a straight line in the spine, up to the top of the head. We breathe here. Glue those legs together if they're not. So imagine those legs are one. Inhale, pick up a little bit higher. Exhale, release down. Drop your right ear to the mat. Toes can come together, heels can spill out, and we just breathe here. Come back to the forehead. Coming to round two. Let's start with gluing those legs together before we lift up. So zip the legs together, they become one. Take an inhale. Exhale, pick up. Chest comes up, legs come up. Arms hover, palms are shining in, and we breathe here. Now again, the intention, what we're imagining is going on in our body, is that those legs are coming up in line with the shoulders. As soon as we can't breathe in a slow and steady ujjayi, we need to come slightly out of the back bend. So see where you're at. Here for one more inhale, pick up a little bit higher. Exhale, release down. Left ear comes to the mat, toes come together, heels spill out to the side. And coming into our third round, now I'm going to give you the option to bring those arms into a bind behind the back. We've done the warm-up in the shoulders for that. If you'd like to stay with the first variation, that's absolutely fine. So we'll start by zipping those legs together, legs become one. If you're taking variation B, let's bring the hands together behind the back. Forehead still on the mat, take an inhale. Exhale, pick up and start to draw those fists out and back behind you towards the back of the mat. Take one more inhale, pick up. Exhale, release everything down. This time you can make a pillow for your head with your hands. Start to massage and roll into those hips. We're going to come into locust sway. Arms are coming out into a T position. Right ear comes to the mat. We're going to bring that left hand in under the left shoulder, bend into the left arm, and then we're rolling over onto the right hand side. We want to try and make sure that that left foot is nice and grounded behind us, and the intention for that left knee to be shining up to the ceiling. So we're getting this beautiful stretch in the right shoulder. And you can keep that left hand in front for support, or if you'd like to, you can bring the back of that left hand to the lower back. Feel everything start to slow and steady as we come to the more cooling part of our practice. Just enjoying these more restorative postures after all that hard work, all that heat that you've created in the body. We'll come to roll back to center onto the belly. Left ear comes to the mat. Right hand will come in under the right shoulder. Bend that right leg, step the right foot behind, locust sway on the other side. And we're going to mirror whatever we did on the first side. So if we took that hand behind us, we'll do the same here. Maybe coming to close your eyes for a moment. Feeling that stretch into that left shoulder. And then when you're ready, making your way back to the belly. We'll bring both hands in under the shoulders, curl into the toes just to help you push back. You're going to find that wide leg child's pose that we started our practice in. Draw those sitting bones back towards the heels. This time we're not going up onto the fingertips. We're just going to melt and soften in this fold. And slow and steady, picking yourself back up. We're going to bring that right knee in between the hands. Just look behind us, look for that straight line in the leg on the left-hand side. And setting up for our pigeon, walking those hands forward, maybe coming onto the elbows all the way down. See where you're at. And breathing here. When you're ready, coming onto the hands, we'll draw that right knee back to meet the left. Swap over to the left-hand side. Left knee will come forward. And that left heel is finding its way under the right hip bone. And then when you're ready, lowering down, mirroring wherever you got to on the other side. Slowly coming out of the pose. This time you can sit over to the left-hand side just so that you can swing that right leg all the way around. Just come into a little twist before we come down onto our back. So knees come into the chest. Left arm wraps around the knees, right hand behind us. Gaze is coming over that right shoulder. And then moving over to the other side, right arm wraps around the legs, left hand swings behind. And then coming back to center. And we'll start to make our way down to our backs, and we'll start with those knees into the chest. Drawing those arms up over the head, just giving yourself a little massage into the lower back. And then with your next exhale, you can let both knees drop over to the right hand side. Gaze can stay up to the ceiling or drop over the left shoulder. And coming back to center. And then using your next exhale to drop the knees over to the left hand side. Coming back to center. And then starting to make your way into your Savasana. So extending the legs, bringing those arms out alongside your body. Any shimmying that you need to do, get yourself comfortable so that you can commit to a shape. You can let go of any controlled breathing now. Notice what thoughts start to rush in as you find this stillness. And come back to your intention. Come back to why you came to your practice today. As you allow yourself to melt into this final restorative posture. Allow yourself to surrender and let go. slowly start by noticing the breath. Notice any sounds that surround you. Just coming back to the physical body. Starting with some easy, gentle movement through the toes, through the fingers. And just notice what thoughts flood in. Lengthen the breath. And then notice what cues the body gives you, what movements it asks for. Maybe there's a full body stretch. Maybe the knees need to come in. Just listen to your body and take whatever it needs. And then make your way over to your right hand side. Keeping those eyes closed, bringing the knees into the chest, just pausing here. And we pause here in a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for your physical body, for carrying you through your practice. And then taking and giving gratitude to anyone in your life that holds you up, supports you, loves you. And keeping this sense of gratitude and grace in our hearts as we prepare to re-enter the day. And using that left hand for support, we can come to push ourselves up to any comfortable seat. And bringing the hands to prayer at heart center. And bringing your prayer up to your third eye. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope it helps to carry you through, brings you a little bit of ease and light into whatever activities lay ahead. I look forward to practicing with you again soon. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.